Illman, Mike Beer, race number 8 at Aqueduct on Gotham. Saturday is the Grade 3 Tom Fool Handicap. Some salty older sprinters, perhaps prepping for the Grade 1 Carter. Let's take a look at this field. We're going 3/4 of a mile. A field of 8 have entered. The 1 and the 2 both cross-entered in a lesser race on Friday. So we'll see how this race shakes out, but Mind Control definitely the horse to beat.
Yeah, I think he is. And, we'll see what kind of trip he pulls in this race. I guess, if you wanted to take a stand against him in some way, you could argue that maybe 6 is a little sharp for him, but he's so tactical, Dan. I don't think it's going to matter.
And speaking of his tactical ability, let's throw up the Time Form U.S. Pace Projector, where the Mind Control is Chicklet number 4. And as Mike mentioned, he can adapt to the pace scenario. If they are not going very fast, he can certainly be closer to the pace. The horses that Time Form US projects to be on the lead, well, the number 7 Wentz has shown good early speed. Off the layoff, he should be fresh. I think Happy Farm, the 5, is the most logical horse to make the front.
Yeah, both of those horses have plenty of early speed. Even the 8, Scyther, Scramjet, you don't know what you're going to get from him. It's been a while since he's run, and he was off form the last time we saw him, but got plenty of speed.
Number 1, Mr. Dougie Fresh, one of those 2 horses cross-entered on Friday. If he does scratch, you might want to head on over to timeformus.com after scratches are made official, because this pace projector will update. As for Mr. Dougie Fresh, he probably fits better in that other race on Friday. I've never really thought of him as a graded stakes type. He's a nice, honest horse, but he's playing like Rob Actress, who can move horses up substantially, even off of Rudy Rodriguez, who tried to move this horse off of Jason Service. Let's watch his last race. It was going 6.5 furlongs, and he's in between horses. He's been in between horses in a little bit of a dogfight from about the 5/16 pole, and he's just going to come up short. And this has kind of been Mr. Dougie Fresh's MO since the spring of 2019.
Yeah, listen, he ran fine in this race. Really no match for Jovia, who's a pretty nice horse who overtook him there. He fought on to the end, though. I don't know what to say, Dan. I thought overall going right through 2019, after Service claimed him, I really liked his form for Service, but wins were still hard for him to come by. He never, like you said, he never struck me as a graded stakes kind of horse. Claimed by Rudy, now claimed by Actress. I respect Rob Actress a great deal, but it's not like he's taken this horse off a couple of chumps.
Cecilia, Mike, is the number 2. This horse has gotten very good for Gary Siaki's also cross-entered in that race on Friday. He also would fit better in that race, but he got through his entry-level open non-winners of 1 condition with this effort on February the 5th, February 8th, going 3/4 of a mile. He's the number 4. He's at the back of the pack. He's got some work to do, but he perseveres.
Yeah, he's got plenty of ground to make up here through the final furlong, but he just keeps coming. This has sort of been the story of Cecilia Mike's life. He's a late running sprinter. That's why you see a lot of seconds and thirds on his cards and not as many wins. But now it's 2 wins in a row, and I thought he looked good winning both times, Dan. They're going to step him up. I guess they're doing it at the right time off of 2 wins.
This is a horse that had 16 seconds and 9/3 in his life. He's learning how to win races. He needs some pace, and he has to prove that he can class up with these kind of horses. This will be his first open stakes appearance in his 49th lifetime start. Wonderful Light is the number 3 going out for Michelle Nevin. This horse is multiple stakes placed. Last time out, I thought he ran an even race in the Gravesend. He is capable of better, certainly from a speed figure standpoint. I just wonder where he is from a form cycle. I liked that they gave him a little bit of time after the Gravesend.
I kind of do too, because he was on relatively short rest in that race. He just didn't run his best race that day. I'm not going to try and make an excuse for it. He was 3 wide, but the pace wasn't fast, and he was no match for the 1-2 finishers in there and couldn't even hold third. I actually really liked his Fall Highway 2 stars back. I thought he ran really well that day. He's got a race or 2 in him that would make him interested in here, and he might be a very fair price.
Your morning line favorite, the number 4, Mind Control, I think has just been managed superbly by Greg Sacco. This horse won the Hopeful as a 2-year-old. They took 1 shot to go long. In the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, it didn't work out, and even though he won the Jerome in his first start as a 3-year-old, they almost immediately said, we're not going on to the Triple Crown Trail with him, and they were rewarded with the win in the big Grade 1 8 Challenge Jerkins, the signature race for 3-year-old sprinters at Saratoga. And let's watch his seasonal debut in the Toboggan. This is Mind Control. Not only does he have a lot of ability, Mike, boy, does he know where the wire is.
I think that's maybe his greatest quality. He's obviously got talent too, but he's just dead game, and he really likes to win races. You watch this race right here. He's forging to the front now.
Here they come.
He looks like these horses are going to run right by him. They come in with all the momentum down the outside. He looks beat to me right here, Dan, but you know what? He digs in and he holds these horses off. Another just quality effort from this horse. Like I said before, I feel like you could argue that 6 could be a little sharp for him. Maybe he's better 7 or 8 around 1 turn. but I don't really feel like that's supposed to get him beat. A multiple Grade 1 winner in this field, he's very well spotted once again.
Very well spotted. Remember, that toboggan was his first start off about a 5-month layoff. He could certainly take a step forward off of that race, and he likes Aqueduct to boot, winning the Jerome and the Bay Shore here. A good effort also in the Gotham. Let's talk about Happy Farm. Nice reformed $30,000 claimer. Jason Service took him. He went on a streak of 4 consecutive wins, including that victory in the aforementioned Fall Highway. Last time out, he gave it his all in the Gravesend, and a good horse was just able to get him late. Let's watch that race. Happy Farm showing his customary early speed. He's in good shape here. Firenze Fire, the 1-5 favorites coming after him. He gets a little bit goofy with his lead changes. Does Happy Farm. He switches back and forth, but Firenze Fire really has to run to catch him.
Firenze Fire is a real good horse, and it actually didn't probably get enough credit for this win because Happy Farm was out there loose on a very soft pace for this kind of a race, and he did his best with it, Dan. He just couldn't hold off his classy stablemate at the end. I like the form this horse has found, obviously, since Service claimed him, going from a 30 claimer to a graded stakes winner, and I respect his speed, too. I'm not a huge fan of his. I think this is going to be a little tougher for him.
Firenze Fire, of course, came back to win the General George at Laurel easily with a 102 Beyer speed figure. Happy Farm very comfortable at the 3/4 of a mile. If you think Mind Control finds this a little sharp, Happy Farm in some ways becomes the horse to beat. Beau Zone is a nice old-timer. Going out for Michael Tenuzzo, a very sharp trainer, claimed this horse. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of improvement for Beau Zone, a horse that's banked over $500,000 in his career. I just wonder what's his best distance right now. I always liked him as that late-running sprinter, and it seemed like they kind of lost that. They tried to run him 2 turns. I think this is what he wants to do.
Maybe it is, Dan. I mean, when he's good, though, you could probably do anything with him. He'll go long, he'll go short. He's just one of those horses who, you know, maybe he's not that easy to trust all the time, but he's been known to just jump up with a big race every once in a while and pull off an upset or two. I think this is tough for him, but we'll see. Off the claim for Tenuzzo makes him a little interesting.
Wentz has had his share of physical problems. Heck, he's 5 years old. He's only raced 10 times in his career, and now he's going to be making his first start off of a May layoff, a race in which he was the beaten favorite in the Maryland Sprint behind New York Central, a horse that just won that Saudi sprint race overseas. When Wentz is right, we know what we get from him. Big early speed, and he has a fig 2 starts back, albeit over a wet track that puts him in the mix.
I mean, he ran well that day. He got right to the front. He looked beat in the stretch when Curate came to him and actually put a head in front, but he battled back very gamely to prevail. I don't know. I know that he has speed, Dan. I thought this was a tough spot off the layoff.
Skylar's Scramjet, the number 8, won this race in 2018. He was second in the Carter last year. I think 7's a little bit far from. I think this is his favorite distance. The problem is after the Carter, they ran him in the Run Happy against Firenze Fire. And okay, maybe he's not a Firenze Fire quality. He's supposed to run better than that. Then he shows up at Saratoga and he just bombed to the tail. He was kind of dead on the board that day, bombed, and now a layoff. Again, I like the fact that they've given him a freshening, but I do wonder if they're going to give him a race back. He should get a great trip from this post position.
I mean, we'll see what you get from him. I realize that he's not easy to trust. He hasn't. You mentioned he won this race in 2018. He hasn't won since then. That's his last win on his card, and he was in great form at that time. I just like the layoff. I just feel like if you look at him very closely on paper, he's very clearly going to be tough in this race if he can still run. You have to deal with that. You don't know what you're going to get off the layup. But if he shows up with this good race, you tell me you don't think he can beat this field? I think he can. I'm using this horse.
On his best race, he certainly can beat this field. And again, the trip might be coming. Let's take a look at who we like in the Grade 3 Tom Fool Handicap. Mike's doesn't want to put a lot of money in against Mind Control. I can certainly understand that. His qualifications speak for himself. I really respect the Actress Barn. I'm just fascinated that they're entering him in this race. Maybe he'll scratch. Maybe he'll run on Friday. Then I end up with Mind Control. But I'm curious to what we see, what we'll get from Mr. Dougie Fresh. He's 10-1 on the morning line. 1-4-5-2 for me, but Mind Control should be too tough.
I'm just going to chalk it out with Mind Control. I'm going to expect him to show up and run his race, but I will be using Scyther Scramjet with him.
Race 8 at the Big A on Saturday is the Grade 3 Tom Fool Handicap. Approximate post time 4:46 Eastern. Good luck.